Welcome to the Talking Transformation podcast. I'm your podcast host, Peter Ahmad, recording from Cape Town, South Africa, since June 2019. The Talking Transformation podcast provides an open and accessible platform for built environment professionals and interest groups to share their reflections and aspirations relating to the transformation of places and spaces in South Africa. It's intended to be a celebration of the individuals and community groups who are supporting formal and informal processes that are addressing the challenges of South Africa's history and shaping the future of our neighbourhoods and cities. For this latest episode of the Talking Transformation podcast, we've extended the scope of our most recent conversation with Executive Director for Planning in Drakenstein, Jacqui Samson. Jacqui had wanted to discuss the collaboration between her municipality of Drakenstein and the Neumarkt municipality in the Bavarian region of Germany, and the themes and the projects that underpin a partnership and collaboration that has been running since 2014. Despite the interruption of COVID, it's delivered on several climate adaptation infrastructure and integration initiatives there in Paarl, and one of the themes that we had wanted to expand on from our conversation in August was the contestations and the competing priorities within a municipality such as Drakenstein. Socioeconomic needs of communities there often force the hand to give higher priority to basic service delivery needs, and rightly so, whether it be in respect of housing, water, sewage services, and maintaining existing infrastructure such as roads and wastewater treatment works. These priorities often outcompete the needs of the environment when funds have to be allocated to projects from increasingly limited budgets. At the same time, municipalities are increasingly at the sharp end of the climate change agenda, and this conversation talks to a number of the nature-based solutions that have added value to the community of Drakenstein, not only within the immediate communities but also the broader region, serving that climate change agenda and adaptation approaches. The partnership with Neumarkt has provided access to German state funding and technical support in an exchange and partnership program that extends beyond the climate change agenda firmly into the realm of local economic development and fair trade issues. We learn of these approaches and the projects being implemented with our guests Jacqui and Ralf Mützel, who coordinates the activities for Neumarkt as the head of the Office for Sustainability Promotion. I caught up with them both in Neumarkt within the Bavaria region of Germany, where action plans that shape and direct the partnership and infrastructure programs are being revisited. It's clear that the partnership is yielding rewards and supporting innovative approaches, and I hope you'll find something of value and inspiration from this conversation with two of the main players of the program. I'm indebted to both Jacqui and Ralf for their time and a busy schedule of activities, and hope you'll enjoy this episode. So it's just gone 3 o'clock here in Cape Town on Friday, the 16th of September. But it's also 3 o'clock, many thousands of kilometers away in Bavaria, Germany. Absolutely delighted to be joined today by our most recent podcast interviewee, Jacqui Samson. Jacqui from Drakenstein Municipality. Jacqui, how are you keeping? Are you well today?
Yes, Peter, very well. And it's great to touch base with you from beautiful Neumarkt in Germany.
Well, welcome back. I'm sorry you had to run away so far to come back for your second podcast, but it's great to have you on. And you're joined by Ralf Mützel from the Neumarkt municipality. Ralf, first time on the podcast. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, my name is Ralf, and I work for the municipality of Neumarkt. It's in the southern part of Germany, in Bavaria, as you already mentioned. And my job is at the municipality to support sustainability, and we have an office since 10 years now to support sustainable development in all kinds of fields, like engagement of the people, like integration, like supporting families, and of course also all the ecological issues like education on sustainable development or climate protection or even climate adaptation. So all these very important subjects we are struggling with all over the world, you can say, and the municipalities are really important stakeholders in this process.
It's so great to be visiting this idea of the partnerships, and in this instance, a global partnership, an international partnership between a South African municipality and a German municipality. We talked a bit about it in our last episode, Jacqui, around how important partnerships are with public-private, but also with learning from other places. Tell us a bit about how this climate partnership between Drakenstein came to be. And maybe, Ralf, you can kick us off. I mean, you've been involved with this now for, I think, 6 or 7 years already. And Jacqui, we know this is your second year with the municipality. Just give us a bit of an idea of what it was about. And you've mentioned the climate change as being a strong hook to hang this partnership on. But really, what were the certain objectives and outcomes you were looking for, Ralf?
You have to know that there's an official partnership between Bavaria and the Western Cape. And this official partnership we used to build up a partnership on the municipal level. We were searching for actually a municipality in the Western Cape region. And that time we were really lucky because on the one hand, we had a funding opportunity by our Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. And as well, we had a good contact and some to the ministry. And we had some recommendations, and especially the recommendation to partner with Drakenstein. That were the two aspects at the beginning, the official partnership and the frame of the official partnership and the funding opportunity by the federal ministry. And then it began. I remember I've been to South Africa on a private basis, October, November 2013. I visited Drakenstein the first time, had a discussion with the city manager that time, and I just suggested, look, there's a program, are you interested in climate partnership? And they said from the very beginning, we are very keen on building up a partnership with a German municipality.
It sounds fantastic, as I say, really, really interesting. Your initial observations, Jacqui, I say a year and more into the job, this is clearly a big part of it. There you are, you've traveled across to Europe to engage with Ralf and his colleagues. What else have you learned from and understood through this partnership?
Yes, it started as the climate partnership. So that was the theme of the partnership, and the programs or projects selected to comply with those climate partnership principles. Both mayors from Drakenstein and Neumarkt signed an agreement. So the partnership was established in 2014. I was fortunate that when I joined Drakenstein in July 2021, there were projects that were already completed under this partnership banner. There were projects underway. There was funding opportunities still in the pipeline that we applied for. But the main thing is that we look at projects where we can improve or manage climate change, but it actually progressed or changed more to sustainable projects, sustainability. So it's more than just an environmental approach, it's more sustainability approach, and also the local communities and how they benefit both socially, ecologically, and also economically through these programs under the banner of the Climate Partnership. So I was fortunate in that the projects were already established, the partnership was already established. There were officials that have traveled both from Neumarkt and from Drakenstein between the two municipalities and between South Africa and Germany. So that is also the engagement, is also then to just affirm and reinforce the partnership and learning opportunities created by the two.
And Ralf, if we come back to your first impressions, you said you'd come on a private visit and then obviously things geared up in terms of this partnership. What was your first impressions? First of all, South Africa as the country, Western Cape as a region, and then Drakenstein as a municipality. How was your perceptions change over this 6 to 7 year period?
Yeah, actually, I had been to South Africa the first time in 1999 because of relatives. They live in the region of Cape Town. We visited them the first time in that year, 99. That time I wasn't in Neumarkt. I worked somewhere else in Germany. And it was quite by chance that development of my work then later in Neumarkt leads to this partnership. Because then I could combine my private relation to South Africa and of course a new partnership with Drakenstein. And when I came the first time to Drakenstein, 2013, I already knew some parts of South Africa at that time, but of course for me was completely new to talk to someone on a municipal level, on a professional level. The first impression was the people there were all very open. They were keen on working together. They were keen on working on the issue on climate change, on climate adaptation. all the environmental issues. And that's, of course, everywhere in the world, very, very important. It becomes day to day more important, these issues. So it was a really a good start of our partnership. And what's also very important, that our Lord Mayor and the Mayor of Drakenstein, from the beginning, they supported the partnership. Over the years, our partnership really is now more deep, of course, than 8 years before, because also on a personal level, I would say, we speak not only about professional things, but we exchange our impressions and where do we live, and on a private basis. And also, of course, we talk about our projects, our joint projects. And that's a friendship relation. And that's very, very a wonderful thing. Yeah, and that changed over the years. And as you know, friendships, they grow. And after 7 and 8 years, we are now where we are today.
We are family. The partnership is sharing knowledge and expertise, one, and then also looking at opportunities for us to have parallel programs.
My understanding was there's different focus areas: the energy and climate mitigation, which Ralf has already alluded to, education, specifically around sustainable development, the green economy, clearly a very big topic, not only in terms of how it can enhance the sustainability of our economy, but also job creation. There's a fair trade element. And then fifthly, this idea of biodiversity and climate adaptation. So these strong focus areas or themes that you've been focused on through this joint program of action. I'd love to hear about how that has rolled out, where the strengths have been, perhaps where some of the weaknesses have been, where they haven't been able to achieve some of those goals. But I'd also want to throw into that this huge disruption through COVID. How, if at all, was the program affected by that? And how were you able to actually find alternative ways to mitigate the worst impacts of lockdown, both within the German and South African space? I'd be interested to understand that.
I think Ralf can talk to the impact of COVID-19 and the lockdown, where we were restricted, first of all, in traveling. And then the implementation of some of the project was also hampered by lockdown regulations. And I think one important aspect is the community engagement, where we had to find alternate ways to engage with the community, with each other. So we also had to continue just with virtual engagements between the two municipalities, but the opportunities through conferencing and other joint projects, that was obviously stopped in the 2 years during lockdown. That did have an impact on the program. But Ralf can talk to it. Firstly, we had the joint plan of action was 2019, and we now recently updated that in July 2022. So we can just go into detail with some of that.
Yeah, fortunately, we had 2 visits in 2019. So in April 19, we went to Drakenstein together with Lord Mayor. Later the year, in November, Drakenstein visited Neumarkt. And that time we also had a conference in our metropolitan region of Nuremberg. We are part of the metropolitan region. And there was, for the first time, a big conference similar to the one we are going to drive on Monday to Dresden. It was focused on the metropolitan region and the African partners. So we were very lucky, because that was a kick-off of our updated joint program of action for the first time. We were lucky because we managed to make some applications before COVID. That was the reason why, of course, there were some delays in implementation because of COVID. But we had the frame, we had the financing in the 2.5 years. Since 2019, we, of course, used a lot the online conferences and exchanged the knowledge and updated our status of the projects. We managed so far funding of more or less 700,000 euros from our federal ministry for projects on site in Drakenstein. One of the projects with 500,000 euros of funding about the Arboretum, the climate smart park. I'm looking forward to seeing the project, because when it started, I wasn't able to visit Drakenstein, but maybe next year. Our colleagues from Drakenstein, our partners, did a lot of work and a lot of engagement. And so far, when I see the the photographs, it must be a great space for all the people there.
Jacqui, tell us a bit about this Paul Arboretum.
The Arboretum.
Arboretum, my apologies.
So the Berg River flows through Drakenstein municipal area, and it is a source of nutrition for agricultural areas, but it's also a lung and a corridor that zips different communities. So it does separate West and East Paarl, but it is a facility that brings together those communities from East and West Paarl. And it is used for recreational purposes. And the funding that we received, some 500,000 euros, was to look at how we can enhance it as a biodiversity facility, as a recreational facility. So it started off alien clearing, formalizing it with pathways. We've established what we call 5 continents, and then we've planted vegetation that's indigenous to the 5 continents. And then we also looked at facilities that can accommodate people from different age groups, cultures, income. So it really brings communities together in Drakenstein area, but it is also an attraction for people from outside Drakenstein to come and enjoy that facility. And we've recently completed the construction of an eco classroom. So it's an outdoor classroom within the Arboretum, where we offer educational and environmental awareness programs. We do have an existing environmental education program with different schools that our municipality facilitates with different schools, and also NGOs and other entities that are active in the environmental education space that also contribute and participate in the environmental education curriculum. So what we're doing is the outdoor classroom located within the Arboretum is just another resource or another facility to enhance that environmental education program, which is also a very important part of sustainability and climate change mitigation efforts. So we're using the funding to enable or enhance our environmental education program. So one of the focus areas is education for sustainable development, which is also covers energy and climate mitigation focus area. Biodiversity and climate adaptation is a third focus area, and the other 2, green economy and fair trade. Those are the 5 focus areas, and we will use some of the funding for a walkway from the Arboretum to the Drakenstein or the Paarl historic core, where all our historic buildings, but it's all along the banks of the Berg River. And then there we'll establish recreation facilities, benches, and further walkways and paths, so that we can again just reinforce this Berg River corridor as a community facility. We had to engage with all the property owners along that section of the Berg River. So it's private property owners, residential businesses, there's some public entities, and it does go through what we call the civic node, where all the public facilities are. We've got the municipal offices there, our main civic center. We've got the South African Police, we've got a magistrate's court. So there are other public facilities within the path of that walkway that we want to create. So we see it as a resource for the civic node and the departments and government establishments around it. And again, just improving that facility, enhancing that facility as a public resource.
It sounds absolutely fantastic, Jacqui. I mean, it's talking to many of the things that when we discussed a couple of weeks ago, this idea of there's linear connections there, there's the integration of people, there's cross-sectoral interests represented, whether it's environmental, biodiversity, etc., etc. I mean, this really sounds like it's something that brings to life all of those sort of ambitions and the rhetoric, if you like, together in one place. I mean, Ralf, is this exactly what you've been trying to drive in terms of demonstrating change, demonstrating opportunities through the partnership?
I think what Jacqui said earlier, that our partnership actually changed from a climate partnership to a sustainability partnership. That's really special because, of course, you have to focus on subjects, on issues. But we decided to make a really broad joint program of action And what's the difference now, in my opinion? The first joint program of action was 2014. Then we made an update 2019, 18, 19, and then again. And we noticed that we were really focused on Drakenstein implementation level. That was really okay. That was the first steps. We agree on that our new joint program of action shows measures on Drakenstein side, on Neumarkt side, and as well, of course, as joint measures. So there are, for example, when it comes to the Arboretum project, we don't have an Arboretum in Neumarkt, but of course, we also have a city park. We have a big area where we have garden structures and natural structures. Of course, we have forest around the city. And we also work on a concept like in Drakenstein, like the Greek classroom, as Jacqui told. And that's the core of our partnership, to exchange knowledge, to exchange experiences, and to learn from each other. And that's a partnership, because it's not a one-way partnership, of course, it's two ways. And to be honest, the funding is from the federal ministry, and we try to get the funding to support projects from the beginning and to make experiences, and that's great. But the funding is only a part, because you can't always ask for funding, of course. That's not sustainable. The funding, when it leads to a project which will be still there when the funding is gone after 5, 10 or 15 years, then you made everything right. So as Jacqui also already mentioned, there is a new project now running after the FKKP. It's called FKKP. It's just a shortage of the program, the Arboretum project. It's about the Nakopa. It's another program. And the Berg River is on focus. There's this lane alongside the river, and it will combine the several spaces in the Arboretum, and like the river walk and river gardens. And there, the aim is to get the engagement from the private businesses at the riverside. That's similar to Neumarkt, and in my opinion, it's very important to see the businesses as citizens of the municipality, because when they engage, they can do really a lot more than one single person or one household. And when you see the businesses, the companies as citizens, and they engage and they want to engage, as I can recognize in Drakenstein as well as in Neumarkt, you will win more than only the funding. And that's a little bit the strategy.
I think that adds to the sustainability of it. There will be a project there for the community long after Ralf and I have left the program or the municipalities. So it is looking at programs or projects that's sustainable in the long run and not just dependent on funding. And when we share knowledge and information and expertise and resources, it is then also for future generations to benefit. What I want to talk about is the Fairtrade movement. Drakenstein municipality is the first and the only registered Fairtrade city in South Africa at the moment. But next to me is the Fairtrade capital of Germany. And Ralf is in Neumarkt. So the timing is just perfect. They have an annual Fairtrade bistro or Fairtrade market day. And that happened yesterday, right here outside the Burger houses, right outside the municipal offices. And we could participate in that. But Ralf can talk a bit about the history and the One World and all the initiatives under the Fairtrade banner.
Yeah, it's really a strong movement. It's a Fairtrade movement all over Germany now. And what's new since 2009, we had the possibility to apply for this status of a Fairtrade city. Well, that's not really a new campaign, but I think it started around 2008, 2009. We had been the first Fairtrade city in Bavaria. And as Jacqui said, we had the honor to be for 2 years the capital of Germany. And that might be a little bit strange why a city like Neumarkt, it's 40,000 inhabitants, so it's not really a big city, it's a middle-sized city. While we had been the capital between 19 and 21, yeah, we have really a strong fair trade movement, especially in the city of Neumarkt. We have a one world shop, which is now professionalized over the years. At the beginning, the world shops in Germany, they were more based on a volunteering basis from the church, supported by the church, for example. And now we have professionalized this process. We even founded an academy for sustainability, and the Academy of Neumarkt, they are creating educational materials all around the education, all around the sustainability issues. And yeah, it's very popular to learn about sustainability with this material. It's concrete. You have concrete tasks, not only reading, but you can feel sustainability, you can touch sustainability, you can just taste, yeah.
Nice chocolate.
Yeah, I think that's a way to convince the people that's not only important to be sustainable, but it's a lot of fun and it's wonderful to have the possibilities. And fair trade, as Jacqui mentioned, we had yesterday the Fair Trade Weeks now in Germany, and yesterday here in Neumarkt, the event in front of the town hall. We served coffee for free, fair trade, of course, chocolate for free for the children. Of course, we now have the guests from Drakenstein, South Africa. We also made it possible to taste some wine from Drakenstein area, and of course, fair trade wine. Because fair trade is, for my opinion, it's really, and not only an example, but when it comes to fair trade, it's like a system how our economy should work, not only for a sector, but all over the world at the end. Because fair trade means the people who produce the products, they get a fair price. And all the social issues are inside this price, and some environmental issues also. So the best thing is to combine fair trade with organic when it comes to food, for example. So this is I'm convinced of it, that fair trade is not only the right way, it's the only way to make our world a fairer place at the end and a better place.
I just want to say, Peter, although I don't enjoy beer, we went to a fair trade beer house, brewery. What is the name of it?
Organic.
The organic, yes.
Lamsbräu,
which is in one family for 7 generations, and they only use organic product to make their beer. So I had to taste it. When you are in Germany, do as the Germans do. So it was good. From Drakenstein point of view, we do have some businesses and establishments that market their products here in Germany. And one of it is Bosman and Dama, which is a wine farm, they own a few wine farms in Wellington area, in Drakenstein and outside Drakenstein as well. And then there's Rain, R-A-I-N, which is skincare products. The institute is also located in Drakenstein area, and they also export and sell products here. There is a store here, one world store, where all different fair trade producers of fair trade products, they market all over the world, and the store here in Neumarkt stock that products. So there are quite a few South African products. And we could then be part of the market yesterday, and also brought some additional products. And it's part of our joint plan of action to increase the products and participants from Drakenstein's side. So we continuously market that. We also have an annual Fair Trade Day. We had ours in April in the Arboretum, of course. And we're also just looking at how we can use fair trade as a tourism promotion, or market Drakenstein as a fair trade destination also. So there's quite a bit of activities around the fair trade banner. And of course, we know that we have to enhance economic opportunities. So we also see fair trade principles as an opportunity for local economic development and getting more locals and smaller businesses to participate in that.
Again, Jacqui, it's going to be really interesting to pick up on some of this in months to come, see how it gets implemented there in Drakenstein. As I said, the sustainability issues, the job creation issues, all of those things that come from this. So good luck with that. Commendable to both parties to be looking at it from this angle. Jacqui, maybe just to hear, how does your tour end?
So we arrived yesterday, Wednesday morning, and through to German style, we hit the ground running. We just refined our joint plan of action because we have to have parallel implementation programs and indicators and due dates. So we just refined that. We also had joint engagements. This morning, for example, we met with Nuremberg University of Technology, and we want to establish a more formal relationship with educational or tertiary educational institutions in South Africa. So we met with one of the professors, and we also met with one of the ladies that does the international engagements, and she'll be traveling to South Africa and be in South Africa from 26th of September, and she's meeting with Stellenbosch, and she's traveling to Quebec and I think Johannesburg, UJ as well. So we're also looking at how we can have a more formalized relationship around education and exchange programs, again, under the banner of sustainability. This morning, we met with one of Ralf's colleagues who does digitalization and how we use technology to market the municipalities to retain and attract investment. So there's a lot of similarities in our approaches. Regardless of the extent of Drakenstein versus Neumarkt, there are a lot of similarities in our approach to especially retain and attract new investment in our municipal area. Those are some of the engagements, and then we are traveling to Dresden. The conference starts on Monday. It's a conference for the partnerships between German municipality and African municipalities. Of course, we are traveling with Neumarkt, our partners, and we will go attend the conference with them, and then there will be other African German municipality partnerships that will also be in attendance. So I also look forward to meeting some of my colleagues from Africa and also learn from their relationships and partnerships with the German cities. So we look forward to that, and then of course implementing once we leave the beautiful shores of Germany. We obviously have to continue implementing our programs in our respective municipalities, and we meet bi-monthly just to keep each other updated. And we're building this pipeline because the partnership must continue. It's not just linked to a project. So we continuously build this pipeline of projects, enhancing the partnership, creating opportunities to access funding and other resources. So that's a continuous effort we're making from both Neumarkt and Drakenstein side.
All the best with it, Jacqui. Enjoy every minute of it. Ralf, if listeners are wanting to find out more about your municipality there at Neumarkt, maybe you can just give us a website address that people can. I've looked; it's in both English and German, so it's very user friendly in that regard for those of us who are not as fluent in a second language as you are. Congratulations, your English is exceptional, sir, and thank you for engaging us in English today.
Yeah, just a few informations about Neumarkt. It's a little bit different to the South African system of municipalities, the several levels. So Neumarkt itself as a city with 40,000 inhabitants is part of a county, and the county is also named Neumarkt. So I compare the county of Neumarkt a little bit with Drakenstein, because from the size, from the not even exactly the same number of people live there, but more than 120,000, for example, in the county of Neumarkt. I know Drakenstein, I think 300,000. So it's larger from the population, of course, but you can compare it a little bit, the county, because we have middle-sized cities, some smaller cities, small villages. We have a lot of agriculture around. I think more or less 30 to 40% of the area. We have forest around, and Neumarkt is in the middle, more or less in the middle, and it's like a small capital of the county. So it's very important to work together on both levels. And of course, we have more levels. We have the Bavarian state, we have the federal system in Germany, and Yeah, so we are a part of it. It's really special to have an own department on sustainable development. So it's a promotion. We founded it in 2012. And we made a process from 2003. We invited people to form visions of their city and to look into the future. Can you imagine how should Neumarkt be developed in the future under the guidelines of sustainability? And with this process, we so far have many results. We founded several new NGOs, organizations. One organization especially helps elder people. They support them in their own households. Another voluntary agency or a foundation, they collect more or less money to support people who are more poor people who have social problems. Currently, of course, the Ukrainian crisis in Europe and the war there, it's really, really bad. And we have, of course, many refugees here. We support them, and we have all the structure built up the last 10 or 20 years to be really flexible on a social level, but also on the ecological and economic level. We also now have this energy crisis because of the gas. We use a lot of gas. I don't have to speak much about the global issues now, but of course you notice it on the municipal level, because we have now to save more energy than before. And we have these structures already. We build up the structures, and that's an advantage. Many other municipalities just have to just started to talk about sustainability, and we are now on our way. And Neumarkt is also blessed with many really good companies, bigger companies in the building sector. One company, they work all over Germany and Europe, a big building company. And we have, for example, I even found out a few years ago, we have 2 companies in the field of lightning protection, and these are the world leaders, come from Neumarkt. And we have also, as Jacqui mentioned, a few breweries, one organic brewery, that's really special. And that's also a driver for us as a municipality to be more and more sustainable. So if you like to go on our website, www.neumarkt.de, Neumarkt, Neumarkt.de.
Thank you so much for taking us through that. It certainly enriched, I think, our conversation from a couple of weeks ago, Jacqui, and seeing some of this demonstrated and these partnerships that are going to build. I think your not only your network and space there in Drakenstein, but really the impact with the communities that you're working towards and serving. Congratulations to the 2 of you. I hope the delegation from Drakenstein has a safe and very rich tour there in Germany. Please get back safely. And again, Jacqui, perhaps we can pick up on some of these themes in the weeks to come. And Ralf, next time you're this side, we'd love to meet you in person. And again, let's hear about your reflections on the Arboretum when you finally do get a chance to see it in person next time you're here.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share some of our experiences and the information. And again, we see you as an important partner in marketing and sharing knowledge. So thank you very much for again approaching us. We are privileged, both Ralf and I, to share this information. I don't think we've done this on such a platform before. The partnership hasn't done that. And I know there are many conversations we could have still on some of the detail around some of the focus areas, but we'll touch base with you a couple of months and give an update on where we are with some of the implementation projects. Thank you.
Look forward to that. Enjoy your weekend. Travel safely. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this content of the Talking Transformation podcast. Please feel free to give us feedback via our Twitter platform. That's @TalkingTransfo and the number 1, or alternatively via our email address talkingtransformation101@gmail.com. Thanks and recognition also to Tribal Need for allowing us to use their track Flags as our introductory and closeout music on this podcast.